What if I told you Jack and the Beanstalk isn't just a fairy tale, but a story rooted in a 5,000-year-old secret? From ancient myths to forgotten gods, this legendary tale hides clues about humanity's oldest fears, dreams, and beliefs. In this video, we'll climb beyond the clouds and dig deep into the past, uncovering the real origins of Jack's magical journey. Giants, golden treasures, and sky-reaching plants might just be echoes of ancient truths. Stick around as we reveal the hidden history that connects a childhood story to the dawn of civilization. This is folklore like you've never seen it before. The 5,000-year-old secret behind Jack and the Beanstalk. Fairy tales often appear timeless, floating through cultures with whimsical ease. Among the most iconic of these is Jack and the Beanstalk, the tale of a boy who climbs into the clouds on a magical beanstalk, steals treasures from a fearsome giant, and ultimately triumphs. It's a classic adventure with elements of danger, magic, and a touch of rebellion. Yet what if this tale was not simply a medieval fable or a Victorian moral lesson? What if Jack and the Beanstalk has roots that stretch back more than 5,000 years, older than the pyramids of Egypt, older than Stonehenge? In recent years, literary scholars and folklorists have started to uncover evidence that this seemingly simple story may be among humanity's oldest surviving narratives. Tracing its origins reveals not only the persistence of storytelling but also something fundamental about human experience, culture, and psychology. A quick summary of the tale. In most modern versions of Jack and the Beanstalk, the story goes like this. Jack, a poor boy living with his widowed mother, sells their only cow for a handful of magic beans. His mother, angry at his foolishness, throws them out the window. Overnight, the beans grow into a colossal beanstalk that reaches into the sky. Jack climbs it and finds a castle in the clouds, home to a ferocious giant. There, Jack steals various magical treasures, a bag of gold, a golden harp, and a goose that lays golden eggs. Eventually, the giant chases Jack down the beanstalk. Jack chops it down, the giant falls, and Jack and his mother live happily ever after. The moral lessons seem obvious: reward for bravery, punishment for greed, the giant, and the value of cunning over brute strength. But that's just the surface. Beneath the magical veneer lies an ancient cultural and psychological structure. Oral tradition and the evolution of folk tales. Before delving into the story's deep past, it's essential to understand how stories evolved. Before writing systems, humans relied on oral storytelling to transmit knowledge, morality, and entertainment. These stories shifted as they passed from mouth to mouth, adapting to different cultures, languages, and historical contexts. Folktales like Jack and the Beanstalk fall into a genre called Märchen, from German, referring to fairy tales involving fantastic events, supernatural elements, and universal themes, such as coming of age, outwitting evil, or the rise of the underdog. Many of these tales, researchers now believe, are far older than we thought. Tracing the roots, folklore phylogenetics. One of the most fascinating developments in folklore studies is the use of phylogenetics, a method borrowed from evolutionary biology, to trace the history of stories. In 2016, researchers Dr. Jamie Tirani and Sarah Graca da Silva published a groundbreaking study in Royal Society Open Science. They examined common folktales across Indo-European cultures, tracing linguistic patterns to identify narrative ancestry. They discovered that some stories, including an early form of Jack and the Beanstalk, may date back more than 5,000 years, possibly to the Bronze Age and even earlier. This tale falls into the category known as The Boy Who Stole Ogre's Treasure, classified as ATU 328 in the Arndt-Thompson Uther Tale Type Index. Variants of this story appear from Scandinavia to South Asia, all featuring a youth who outwits or steals from a larger-than-life being, such as a giant, troll, or ogre. Prehistoric parallels, the Proto-Indo-European legacy. The Indo-European language family, spanning English, Latin, Sanskrit, Greek, and hundreds of others, emerged from a common linguistic ancestor spoken around 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. Stories that survived in similar forms across these languages may date to that proto-language. Jack and the Beanstalk, or at least its core elements, may be one of those ancient tales. The archetype of a clever underdog defeating a monstrous adversary with trickery rather than force appears in early Indian Vedic texts, ancient Greek myths, Norse sagas, and Celtic folklore. Think of Odysseus blinding the Cyclops in Homer's Odyssey, another cunning man stealing from a giant, escaping by wit alone. The structure is nearly identical to Jack's tale. This points not only to the tale's antiquity but also to its deep resonance. The motif of the clever youth defeating a fearsome enemy taps into a universal human dream, the triumph of the powerless over the powerful, of intelligence over violence. The Beanstalk as cosmic axis. One of the story's most iconic features, the beanstalk, can also be traced to very ancient symbolism. In mythologies across the globe, a giant tree, vine, or mountain often connects the heavens to the earth. Known as the axis mundi, this vertical link represents spiritual ascent, divine knowledge, or transformation. In Norse mythology, Yggdrasil, the world tree, connects different realms of existence. In Mesoamerican myth, the world tree is a link between the underworld, the earthly plane, and the heavens. In Hindu cosmology, Mount Meru plays a similar role. The beanstalk in Jack's story may be a relic of this universal symbol, a bridge to another realm, a place where human limits are tested and overcome. Jack's journey up the beanstalk is thus not merely physical, it is metaphorical. He ascends from the mundane world of hunger and poverty into the realm of gods and monsters, where fate can be reversed and destiny rewritten. The giant, fearsome and familiar. The giant in Jack and the Beanstalk is a terrifying but fascinating figure. He is immensely strong, eats humans, and guards magical treasures. In many versions, he is also dim-witted, easily tricked by Jack. This figure also traces back to ancient mythologies. Giants often symbolize primal, chaotic forces. In Norse mythology, the Jotnar, giants, are older than the gods themselves, representing raw nature and destruction. In the Hebrew Bible, giants like the Nephilim are descendants of divine beings and humans, often violent and lawless. In this light, Jack is not simply a thief, he is a human hero reclaiming sacred power from a dangerous, ancient force. His theft is a symbolic act of rebalancing. Just as the gods must tame chaos to create order in myth, Jack must defeat the giant to bring prosperity to his world. The goose, the harp, and the gold, ancient symbols of power. Jack doesn't just steal random treasures, each item he takes is deeply symbolic. The golden goose, a classic symbol of unending wealth and abundance, it harks back to myths of eternal providence. In some Celtic traditions, birds are associated with the soul and with divine messages. The magic harp, music has long been seen as magical. In ancient Greece, Orpheus could charm even Hades with his lyre. Jack's harp can sing and possibly foretell danger, an echo of divine or prophetic wisdom. The bag of gold, a simple but potent image of economic power, representing success in the material world. Together, these treasures can be interpreted as Jack reclaiming not just wealth, but power, culture, and divine favor, tools with which to transform his life and society. Morality or survival. Modern readers may feel uneasy about Jack's actions. Is he a hero or a thief? He enters the giant's home without invitation, steals multiple times, and ultimately causes the giant's death. But in ancient storytelling, morality is not black and white. Survival and cleverness often take precedence over abstract ethics. In many early versions, the giant is responsible for the death of Jack's father or is painted as a man-eater who hoards what rightfully belongs to others. These details justified Jack's actions and aligned him with justice or revenge. In this context, Jack and the Beanstalk becomes less about theft and more about restorative justice, a common theme in ancient oral traditions. The youth must defeat the oppressor, reclaim what is rightfully his, and ascend from hardship into dignity. From ancient myth to Victorian morality. Over the centuries, Jack and the Beanstalk was sanitized and moralized, particularly during the Victorian era. In the 18th and 19th centuries, writers like Benjamin Tabart and Joseph Jacobs published versions of the tale with clearer moral justifications. Tabart's 1807 version added a backstory in which the giant murdered Jack's father, making Jack's revenge righteous rather than criminal. These additions helped make the tale more palatable to Victorian audiences, who were increasingly focused on teaching clear-cut moral lessons to children. But they also diluted some of the tale's mythic ambiguity and ancient depth. Enduring legacy. Despite being reshaped through centuries of retellings, Jack and the Beanstalk still resonates today. Whether in Disney adaptations, theater pantomimes, or psychological analyses, the story continues to evolve. Why? Because its core themes, transcending limits, confronting monstrous forces, reclaiming power, are eternally human. The journey from below to above, from poor to rich, from powerless to powerful, mirrors the journey of every generation striving for a better future. The ancient roots of modern dreams. Jack and the Beanstalk is far more than a whimsical bedtime story. Beneath its surface lies a mythological structure that dates back over 5 millennia, an echo from the dawn of Indo-European storytelling. Its enduring appeal speaks to our deepest instincts, the desire to rise above our station, to challenge the powerful, and to change our fate. The beanstalk, the giant, the stolen treasures, all serve as metaphors for personal and cultural transformation. By tracing its origins, we not only rediscover a powerful ancient myth, but also reaffirm the importance of storytelling in shaping human identity across millennia. So next time you hear Jack and the Beanstalk, remember, you're listening to a whisper from 5,000 years ago, a secret passed down through fireside tales, from the Bronze Age to your bookshelf. Thanks for climbing the beanstalk with us and uncovering the ancient roots of Jack and the Beanstalk. From sky gods to sacred plants, this story carries echoes from a world long forgotten, but not lost. If you enjoyed this journey into myth and history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. Got a favorite fairy tale you want decoded? Drop it in the comments, we're always listening. Until next time, keep questioning the stories you think you know. Because sometimes, the oldest tales hide the deepest truths. See you in the next adventure.